Everybody. Okay, we're back. We're doing some new videos for Corey. I think it's time to go to the Getty. So what happened is I was in the library. I think I already told you guys the story. And the librarian came up and she said, "I recognize you. I recognize your name. I recognize you." And apparently she's had friends who are students, and we do a lot at our school for a lot of people because we love unconditionally. I mean, we really care about the people at our school. And I've mentored hundreds of people and paying it back, paying it forward. So she said, "I think you deserve to be a stack reader." And that means you have access to the Getty Research Library. So this is an absolute dream come true. Never thought it would happen in my lifetime because most of the people in there are PhDs and I'm an AA. So I'm an AA and they're PhDs. But I go there and I study. So I've taken photos of these incredible books, and I'll continue to do more. So I thought, let's just take this image here, and I have it on my computer in front of me, and we'll just draw it in different styles. Okay, so I thought we'd bring this sketchbook back, and this one goes back a long time ago, and it's fun to go back and look at your old sketchbooks. This one's not done, um, and see where you were. Like, I like this one. This is pretty cool. I got to do more of those. I like this one. Because the current sketchbooks where you're at, and sometimes you slip back. We call it rats at our school. And I look at this one going, oh, I got to get back to that. There's a little bit more sensitivity in these. Like this one, it's just really fun. Just playing with, just pushing it. So I do more of this. Let's see. These are okay. Not very good. That one I like. I like that one. It's got a nice feel to it. It's got a feel. So you always want to go forward, then go back, and then go forward again, then come back, and always be judging, where you're at. Of course, this is, ribbons. So I'm going to put this sketchbook in my bag and take the one that was in my bag and, keep that out because I'm in this new sketchbook. I have 4 of these on the shelf. So I think based on what I'm seeing here, that's going to last me a while. So here we go. As a kid, I was allowed about $15 a year in art supplies. And I used to go into the art supply store and just ooh, I like this one. And just ooh and ah over what I would love to have. Uh, wasn't that many years later, though. I started about 1920. I started about 20 years old. I started teaching and recommending all my students to this art supply store that I grew up at. So they started giving me supplies, and all of a sudden, wow. Well, no, not true. When I started working, like look at this, playing with these orange. When I started working, I was a shoe salesman. I was a good one, and so then I was making money, and I was able to afford our supplies. So it didn't last that long. By the time I was 16, I was able to buy whatever I wanted. So it was pretty good. But I think it's a good thing. I think more kids should have to work hard. Okay, so I'm going to put headphones on, and this is a low battery here, so we're going to fix this. Learn to plug in your iPads. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to use maybe some black. I'm going to use this polychrome white chalk. I had this idea of gluing paper into these paper blank sketchbooks, and I don't think it was the greatest idea because the glue leaked, which was not a good thing. But it's fine. See how to tear it to get it to work. All right, let's see if this one works. All right, let's put on some music, and let's do tone paper, polychrome, and white chalk. Let's see if it works. Learn to start different places in the drawing. Don't start the same place every time. It'll hurt you because you're going to have a registration. If you're working professionally, the person's going to register. So if you're registering to your finger here, you got to start with the finger and draw yourself out. So if you always start with the same thing all the time, you're going to get stuck. So I'm going to start with the scapula. I'm going to change the pose because I want to bring it down there. So I already changed the pose. You won't be able to see really the lay-in because they do it about the value of a half tone. So this pectoralis, latissimus dorsi. Midline, which is going to go away because we're going to come around the front and see the pubic arch. So I've already changed the pose. So it's basically rhythm lines. I call it 3+1. So it's 3 or 4 and then wrap around, which are cross contours. Cross contours give you 3D. So right from the start, we're doing a 3D drawing. We teach this at our school to everybody. So, you got a 5-year-old in there, a 6-year-old. They don't realize it, but they're learning Renaissance drawing right from the start. We're going to teach the real stuff. I'm tired of unteaching. So the kids don't know that they're getting it, but they are. The parents do, and they like it. Also, our school is so insane. It's so loud. I told them on Saturday, the kids, I said, I just got a call from the cemetery. And they were so loud they woke the dead. So we have the dead marching all the way down to the school. So it's pretty funny. So I just keep changing the pose. So that's just 3 or 4 cross contours there towards the condyle by the olecranon. Tells me the story. So if you hold the pencil to the side, like straight up and down, you get a nice narrow line. That's usually bone. Then when you turn the pencil, you get a soft line, and that's usually flesh. See, so we go bone to flesh. And if I go like this, then I get a really thin line. So that's hitting the light's hitting that Boom. I can start also putting in cross contours with the white like that. The closer together, the stronger the white, the further apart, the more the blue will come through, and that'll give it more of a halftone. So I'm constantly moving the white and the dark pencil this way, far from each other. So the knowledge of anatomy, this is the infraspinatus here. It's important. It's like this little infraspinatus fossa. It's like this little dent in the scapula. But for the painter, right there's the core. Reflected light, cash out. It's not even part of the photo. Not even part of the drawing. When this is pushing that way, that's your animation. Push it. Bring the viewer's eye over there. That's animation. Now the serratus anterior, but right here, the rib cage coming down. So that's just my source. I mean, here's a rib cage here, serratus anteriors, and I might use the paper just as a shape. Can leave an open area here. Got a lost edge. So this is going to go away. So I've got this guy really skinny. It's kind of funny. You can move it out a little bit too. You can come in, put another line, bring it out. If you do that, then this line can become like a core shadow. So let's get lost. Now what's going to happen over here is this is the iliac crest. That's a really hard bone. You have surfaces, so it's going to have a nice sharper white. We'll soften it as it goes back. Right now I'm drawing to the music. Listening to In the Beginning by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So I'm using the paper as the tone. So I'm coming up and around. I got all this form. I'm going to put a straight line there. I have to close my window, so don't move. Gardeners outside. See, we're real. Welcome to studios. Okay, here we go. My neighbor's garden. Okay, so we come around here, bring this, and everything's going to pull this way. Get our music back. I think what I'm trying to do in these videos is be less polished. Welcome to the studio. Welcome to what we do as artists. You know, how often do we study? All the time, nonstop. Just going to push back. So I'll put a strong line here, real dark. Push that back, bring this forward. When you're drawing a human body and you get to the woohoo, po-po don't worry about, but the woohoo, you don't need to draw it. Okay, we know it exists. And if you want to see it, there's places online you can go. You don't have to sit there and detail every little vein of it. And I'm not a conservative person, but man, you gotta be careful out there. If I look at a portfolio and I'm just looking at rendered woohoos, do I want to bring you in as an employee? You know, are you going to be like, I don't know, doing weird things to the employees? So be careful. You're basically judging who you are. I just put a little indication. I'm more into the muscles and the structures and the rhythms. I don't have a lot of rhythms in a woohoo that we need to talk about in a drawing. So, and I'm not a conservative person. I'm pretty out there, pretty fun. But I'm careful with employees and students. I don't want to have to be watching you in a classroom or in a work setting because it's my responsibility to watch over the other students. You know, just put a little indication. That's it. Okay. So it's starting to come out. this line overlapping this line, that's what I wanna see, because that's what I need if I'm doing traditional animation. 'Cause if this bumping back and forth, what am I gonna do? I mean, on every other drawing, this thing is going back and forth. Now this is in front, and that's behind, and that's behind, and that's in front. Oh my god, it's gonna be flickering all over the screen. I have to stay up all night fixing your scene. I'm not gonna be real happy. So I wanted to make this more dramatic, and it ended up not being. Made it less dramatic. So, oh well. So I'm going to put a cast shadow there. So I'll put a hard edge. Okay, so put that over there. It's making weird noise. It's fun. So the paper is your midtone, okay? And then you work your way into the light all the way here, and then you work your way into the dark, and that's piano. So that's how I'm having some fun with the piano, but that's how I'm thinking about it. This will be the midtone, that's center C. The white goes this way, light, and I go this way, and that's dark. Because when I listen to music, I see values. I can see color and I see values. So I'm now converting that to piano just for fun, just for me, and I'm going to have my students teach me. So that's what we're doing here. Okay, let's take another sketchbook and do a totally different technique using the same pose. Okay, I'll see you around.